Hey guys, welcome back to the Vault Pro Scooters YouTube. We missed you. We have our old friend Ryan Upchurch in the building today, and he's gonna be talking to us about what it is he does, not only on a scooter, but off the scooter. One of the most active people behind, behind the lens and behind the computer, everything. He does a ton of stuff, so we're gonna go into that and just kind of see what it's like for someone who not only is a pro scooter rider, but is a businessman in scootering and still involved in the sport on so many levels.
Oh, thanks, man. I definitely do a little bit of everything these days. I originally started out just riding scooters back in maybe 2006, 2007, and started working with originally ECX scooter shop. That was like the first real gig outside of like the riding there. I started doing some photoshopping, some photography, just like a little bit of the stuff beyond the scootering and the promotion of it. But from there, man, like it's gone all over the place. I do photoshopping some days I do animation, and it'll go from that to traveling 300 miles out of the way to go just like shoot a single photo on a single spot, like with some guys. So it ranges a lot day to day, but it's all just to promote scootering in a good light and to stay active with the guys that are doing good things out there.
So you started Shop ECX, started getting better at everything. When did you start realizing, like, holy crap, A, you have a gift, and then B, you really see the potential to make a living, not just riding?
Yeah, well, honestly, it really began for me when I started being like the team manager type role at Shop ECX. So from there, I wasn't just shooting like myself. It was more about like, all right, how can we get the team together to ride more often, to produce like content that people are gonna wanna watch, and so forth. So I started working with the guys a little bit more, started doing some social media type stuff. But I don't know, as things progressed, I found that it was organizing events and getting people together to ride more, that was the most powerful thing for me. Whether it was taking the pictures to promote that event, or whether it was actually going out and seeking the sponsors and people that were going to help to put it together. But without the help of people outside of the actual riders, I think it's pretty hard to get like some of that stuff together.
Before, you're a pro rider trying to make your living like that, you're doing some stuff on the side. Right now, your only sponsor is The Vault as an official rider, right?
Yes, sir. So about like 2 years ago, I would say I was riding for Grit Scooters, and that's about the time that I got on The Vault and everything. But over that 2 year to about the year out mark from today, I would say that I was riding for Grit and trying to come out with new products and so forth. But over the time, I found that I just enjoyed being out riding and working with the riders more often, and I found myself sort of shifting into a role that was more towards building websites and e-commerce. As I found that I did have those abilities, they were being used more often and taking me away from the riding, and taking me away from the event sponsorships and working with people more often. So I actually left Grit to try and pursue that aspect
to get more back to riding.
To get more back to riding, and not even just the riding, but just working with riders more, working with the community more. Because I was spending most of my time behind a computer, and although it may have been building scooter websites, I wasn't out there with the guys actually shooting anything or pushing what was happening next. So I would say that over that year or so, I became more focused in rider promotion and doing it on the ground level rather than trying to strategize behind the scenes. And that's where I feel like my time is spent most these days. Now,
how much happier are you now that you've carved this little niche out for you?
Oh, dude, it is a world of difference. I used to spend every day behind the computer screen. Now I'm, here in LA right now, hanging out with you guys. I've been riding with Cooper the past week or so, just shooting nonstop out there, filming videos again. I've been working with, Rad from Phoenix, Fusion, all sorts of different companies within the industry to, push their little portion of it. And that's been what's, most fun for me, developing the new logos, the new, types of products they're putting it out, and introducing it in, ways that are going to be interesting to the guys out there riding this stuff.
Yeah, and it's awesome too, because I mean, like, even as a kid, and I'm sure lots of kids are out there today thinking it is like, I was always like, man, I just want to work in scootering. So you did it, you got to the point where you were doing something for scootering and you're like, this isn't what I want. You were able to turn it around and do something behind the scenes and still ride your scooter, still go out and do fun stuff. So that's really awesome. For any kid out there dreaming of making it in scootering and they want to be that pro, but let's be honest, not everyone's Dakota Schuetz. Like, there's only a couple top guns out there making a living off of fully just riding.
Yeah, man.
What advice would you have for kids like to get involved in not necessarily business, like they could do website stuff or whatever they're passionate about? Any advice for them?
Well, I just, have to say, go find whatever it is that makes you, get up in the morning. What is it that, gets that fire inside that really just gets you amped on whatever it is that you're doing? That's what's most important, whether it's you riding your scooter, whether it's you, going to the events and being part of them. There's a million different ways to get involved, but, don't make it something that you're getting involved with just for the money or the outcome of whatever's happening. You got to look at what's making you happy there, right? I would say personally, I went down that road, right? I went down the road of, I want to be successful, I want to make good money in this. So I did what I thought was, the lineup to do that.
Yeah,
I set myself up to, I was like, all right, I'm going to be the business guy, right? I'm going to work behind the scenes all the time. I'm going to set myself up for that. But, I could have made good money doing that, but I found out even if I was doing that, money wasn't the end goal. It was to work with people in ways that made me happy. And I think that goes for a lot of people. You see things being promoted in the mainstream that, money, it does this and that for you. But really all it does, it buys you time. If you don't know what you're doing with your time, then you have nothing, right? Go out there and have fun, whatever it is you're doing, and that's what's most important. And by all means, you will run into things that are hard, things that are easy, whatever, but just make sure it's a path that's worthwhile.
Yeah, worthwhile path, and if you're passionate about it, you can get the skills to the point where you could make a living doing all sorts of stuff.
Who cares if you suck at it today, right? I sucked
That's
compared
step
to all.
one.
Yeah, step one is sucking. Let me tell you right now, step one is sucking, right? I was not good when I hopped on a scooter. All of my friends were way better than me for a very, very long time. And I loved it enough that one day, I did get good. I was able to do a few tricks, but even that, doesn't last forever, right? It's all about, how you're spending that time. I don't remember the first time I landed that world first. I remember the time that I was hanging out with my friends after the fact, and, we all went out to get some food, and I don't know, someone blew soda out their nose onto somebody else. It's that sort of stuff that...
It's the memories, yeah.
Yeah, bro. It's not about, what you're doing out there. Like, yeah, it's cool to, be good at it and whatever, but it's really about just appreciating what everyone else just has to bring to the table that's different. You can, I don't know, there's a million different approaches in scootering, right? You have the guys who approach things technically. I'm going to do as many tricks or the hardest tricks that I can in the air. There's the guys that are, the style bosses. I'm going to, go for the most stylish thing I can. And there's a beauty to each and every one of those. Just, find what it is that makes you happy and chase after that, bro.
Solid advice, solid. So behind the scenes right now, you have your own company going on. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I've been working on it for a little while now. It's probably been in the works now for about a year. I'm testing some prototype compression system right now. It's called CHIC, which is going to introduce M8 bolts to compression systems, which I've recently found out Tilt also does. But the difference with mine is...
Addict too.
Addict also does it. Wow, well, kudos to those guys. You're on the front of the trends out there, always killing it. But personally, I plan to make it so that the shim and the top cap are actually integrated together. So it'll be made out of one piece of billet aluminum. And as you tighten your bars around this compression system, rather than crimping at the bottom because the top cap doesn't compress, it'll actually compress the whole way through, which I found actually keeps your compression system tighter for longer. So running HIC myself in the past, I tightened it, once every 2 or 3 days, every few sessions or so. Yeah. And for the past 4 or 5 months now, I've had a pretty solid compression system.
That's good.
I'm hoping it's something awesome that other people can appreciate too.
Tightening your headset is annoying. All the time I'm tightening down my headset.
I can have loose wheels, I can have loose just about anything, but if that headset's jiggling around, it just reminds me of the 8 models I used to ride when I first got started.
And what's the name of this company for the parts?
It's going to be Peak Scoot Co.
Peak Scoot Co. Also doing the plastic pegs. We're doing new compression, but basically work the same as HIC, so you don't have to buy anything special for your fork. Great for compatibility. Anything else in the works parts-wise yet that you're willing to say?
As of right now, I think that's all the stuff that I have that's in the foreseeable future. But
be on the lookout.
I have been, you know, like I said, working on those pegs and everything. They should be available now within the next like 3 or 4 weeks. I've just been held up a little bit with the packaging process because I had my friend Eric McGray, who was actually the original inventor of the SLI pegs. He was going to be my partner in the business, but he actually owns a machine shop and has been super busy with that. So I've actually taken on the project myself entirely. So I now have ordered a thermoformer, which is it's like a plastics packaging setup. So I have like a mold that I had a friend 3D print, Don Marconi of Aztec Scooters.
Of course, yeah.
And he made this 3D, you know, mold for me, and he's going to send that to me. And on the thermoformer, it's going to actually suck the plastic around and create like clamshell molds. So I'll be packaging all the pegs up, well, 1,000 of them by hand for each of you guys.
Be on the lookout for that. You should do like the first release, like sign it and put
dude,
like 001.
I would be writing notes to every single one of the guys that are out there getting the products. That's you know, the fun part for me.
So you got Peak Scoot Co. doing the products, but you also have kind of like, I don't want to say it wrong, is it advertising with Edge?
I would call it like a branding agency.
Branding agency. Are you willing to talk a little bit about Edge? What's it? Edge?
Yeah, Edge Brand Agency.
Edge Brand Agency. That's the full name?
That's the full name, the full thing. But when I first got into that, man, like I did not see anything like I do today. When I wanted to find an outlet, right, for my digital advertising, the photography, and all of those sort of things. And the jobs that I take day to day, the projects, they still change rapidly. And there's things that, you know, will come in next week that I have to watch tutorials to figure out how to do as I'm doing it. But, you know, like now I've learned that it can be an agency. I start working with artists and other people that are also interested in the same thing. So maybe if it's something I can't do, there's somebody out there that's very skilled, and I want to make that available to the people that are in, you know, the scooter industry or whoever it is that I'm working with. So for example, like a fusion deck that's going to be coming out here in the next few months that I worked with Austin Quentz for. I actually hired a comic book artist from Atlanta that is going to be doing some custom artwork for that. But that's the sort of things that I'd like to be doing more often.
Have the pictures leaked yet?
Oh, no.
Not yet? All right,
no, I don't even have the final design from the guy yet. But oh yeah, this is the real sneak peek.
So how much scootering content and advertising, logos, that kind of stuff goes through Edge, or is it mostly not scootering?
I would say like right now about like 3/4 of all of the work that I'm doing thankfully is directly through scooters. So
are you gonna try to keep it that way, so it's like
as much as possible?
Definitely.
Man. My goal is to do as much as I possibly can with scooters, right? And you know, as other businesses come and approach me, I'll take it if it's a good opportunity. But in essence, it's about what I'm working on. I'm only going to take projects that are going to either push me in my developing of photography and my skill set in that way, or you know, the end result, whether it's going to be events that are coming out in scootering, or you know, just things that are going to help improve the community in some way. That's where I want to spend my time.
So you're at a point. You're the only one in Edge, right? Edge is just Ryan Upchurch.
Yeah, for right now. And then I also. John Cottle, he's a filmer on the East Coast. I've been working with him a little bit more recently, where I have him do like some product photography or just like little custom things here and there. But my goal is, if there is other people
employing other people in the scootering,
if there is other people in scootering that, you know, have a good head for this stuff, then, you know, approach me. I will try and find work for you. I will try and, you know, make you available to the guys out there that need it. Just be good at what you do and have some passion, and you know, there's nothing but opportunity out there.
If your company watching this, you're going to need some designs, all sorts of creative content, that kind of stuff. Where can they find your website? www.edgebrandagency.com. I actually just gave it some updates too, so you'll be able to see some of my recent animation work and some of the other projects I've been working on. Definitely check it out, guys, because it's going to show not only how you can be a rider in the industry and go as far as Ryan has skill-wise just on the scooter, but he's developed a skill set that allows him to choose projects he wants to do and create content for scootering, still being involved and also looking pretty happy. I know we saw him a couple years ago and was a little burnt out on it, and so it's good to see him out here doing what he's doing.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I would say for a little while there I was pretty, you know, unhappy. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And you know, these past few months, this past year, I would say in total, has really helped me find that. It's brought me back to what originally was the cause of me to start doing this, the fun in it, right? I wasn't chasing the goal, I was chasing, you know, I'm now back to chasing what's happening right here in front of me, right? Back to just riding and spending time with my friends and pushing all the good stuff out there that's possible.
That's what it's about, man.
Damn right.
Well, awesome. Ryan, thank you so much for coming. Kids watching this or young adults, there's more than one way to make it, and Ryan's a shining example. That's why we had him on here. We want to let you guys know that there's not just riding and scootering. There's so much more to it. If you're passionate about it, you can find something else in the industry you're passionate about. And hey, if you do like building websites and you find that actually fun for you, I mean, why not? Build websites for companies and still go out there and ride. Ryan was able to find creative outlet for all of his vast digital skills that are continuing to grow. If you've seen any of our recent edits, the Lost Tape series, our trips to the Northwest, all the animations, all the editing on point, all done by Ryan. So thank you, Ryan. Any closing things you want to say to kids out there, or thanks, whatever?
Well, thanks for being so nice and talking me up so much, man. I really appreciate that. Other than that, man, the kids out there, I would say just have fun. Who cares about what you're riding? Who cares about what your friends are doing? Just go out and ride with them, man. At the end of the day, y'all are going to be learning different tricks all the time, going at your own speeds, and it doesn't just stop at the riding. There's many aspects of your life that this applies to. Don't ever measure yourself against everyone else. Measure yourself against yourself, right? Because that's the most important, to go out
Words
there.
Of wisdom. All right, well, thank you so much, Ryan. Guys, thank you for watching. Let us know who you'd like to see next time. We'll try to get him in here. Obviously, they kind of need to be in LA. I know people want Juzzy Carter, but he's not in LA, guys. See you next time.